We're here tonight to tell you two folk stories. Because on nights like tonight, when it feels like the other world is close at hand, you could really easily get spirited away. And that's what these stories are about. Our first story takes place 300 years ago on a lake. And by that lake there is a castle and a pier that stretches out to the center of the lake. And on the edge of that pier there's a girl. She's sitting on that pier staring into the lake and she's crying. Her mother's just died. And as she's crying into the lake, she's watching her tears hit the surface and ripple across the water. And she sees a strange form somewhere down in the water, too big to be a fish but too small to be a monster, and it's coming up towards her, and she sees beneath the ripples of her tears a face. It's got large black eyes, the sad eyes of a doe, and a strange smile around its mouth, not quite reaching. And she realizes it's the face of a man as it emerges from the water. "Who are you?" she says. "My father is the lord of this castle. He's very powerful if you need help." "No, Agneta," says the Lake King. "Agneta, I heard you crying. I've come up to meet you. You are the source of all my happiness." And he tells her that he is the king of this lake and he's lived beneath the waters for hundreds of years, longer than that castle has stood, and he will be there long after it's gone. In fact, this lake was once much larger, but of course, anything humans touch shrinks. Agneta looks at him, taken aback, and realizes he's quite handsome. Purplish around the face, his locks sticking to his bones. She says, "Isn't it strange down there under the sea?" "Oh no," he says, "you humans think anything is strange if you haven't been there, but it's beautiful. The light shines twice as bright through the water, but it doesn't burn us. And its storms up above rattle your world, it's quiet below. Why don't you come with me? Let me show you." "Oh, no, no thank you," says Agneta. My mother's just passed away. My father is grieving. He'll be terribly worried if I don't come home. Goodbye." "Very well," says the Lake King. "At least give me the lime blossom pinned to your dress so I can smell it and remember you." And she blushes and she takes the lime blossom, reaches out to give it to him, and his long webbed fingers touch the petals, and then they stroke across her skin, reach up around her wrist, grab it, and tug. She screams for a moment, watching the sky sail above her as she hits the water, and is fine. She can breathe. How amazing. And it's quite lovely down here. And what was her name again? Oh, well, that doesn't matter. The Lake King takes her further under the water to his castle, and as she goes down, she sees the sun shining through the water like golden fire, and fishes circling around her head like soundless birds. And he takes her into the banquet hall of his castle, and he says, "This is where we'll be wed." And he gets out a harp, starts playing for her the saddest song she's ever heard. It breaks her heart, and she can't remember why she should be so sad. And then she looks into his eyes, and he starts to sing. And it all goes away. All memories of her lost mother, her father who'll be worrying for her, her happy childhood on earth, it's gone. All she sees is his face, his large black eyes, his smile. And he finishes his song and he says, "Agneta, will you be with me for always and forever?" And she says, "Yes," because there's nothing left but to say yes. And they're married. And 7 years pass, and in that time she gives him 7 sons. 7 sons in 7 years. And they all look exactly like their father, large black eyes, a strange smile that doesn't quite reach. And one day, she's rocking her youngest baby boy in his cradle below the water, and she hears a sound breaking through the surface. Bells. What are bells? And she remembers suddenly that bells are a thing that ring. And there's no time under the water, longer, but she remembers somehow that bells ring on Sundays. Sundays are a day for a thing that her father used to do, church. And she remembers suddenly a life up above. And she feels so sad. She puts her youngest down in the cradle and goes to her husband and says, I must go above, I must hear the bells. There's a look of alarm in his face, like this is not something he ever expected. And he says, why? She says, I don't know, but I feel like if I don't go up there and listen to them, I'll die. And he says, very well, but you must be back by nightfall. If you don't come back, your children won't survive. And she laughs and she says, well, of course I'll be back. I love you. I love our life. I love our children. Why wouldn't I come back? And he sighs, a deep sigh, but he doesn't say anything else. He takes her hand and they shoot up like an arrow to the surface, and he places her on the edge of the pier and disappears without a word, which is strange. But she's back on the surface and, Agneta! That's her name! And her head is all mixed up. She's looking around and she sees suddenly the sun is bright and warm on her skin in a way she hasn't felt warmth in so long. And the smells, my God, she'd forgotten about smells and the sound of birds and colours everywhere. It's like she hasn't been alive for 7 years. And she follows the sound of those bells all the way into town to the church. Small sandstone building, and inside all the people are on their knees with their hands together. She doesn't really care about that. She sees one person in the crowd. It's an old knight with a long white beard. And he's not like the other people. He hasn't got his hands together. He's got his face in his hands and he's crying. He looks haggard, he looks old, older than the last time she saw him, because she's seen him before, she remembers. And his tears are slipping between his fingers and down his forearms. And she knows why he's crying. It's not just because her mother's dead, it's because she's been gone for a long time. She has a father. And she stands on the threshold for a while, trying to think what to say, work up the courage to go forward, to tell him, I'm here, I'm back. When suddenly there's a coldness that passes over, like a cloud over the sun. And the wind wraps around her, and the saint statues in the church, all their faces turn away from her. And a shadow falls over her back, the shadow of a man, and she hears his voice. Agneta, Agneta, it's time to come home. She can't look. She remembers now, she remembers what he is. Agneta, Agneta, your children are crying for you. Come home now. She won't look. She won't move. She keeps her eyes on the ground. Finally, the voice says, Agneta, I told you they won't survive without you. If you don't come home, I'll kill them. Her face is white with pain then. Her fingernails break the skin of her palms, but she doesn't look. She says, no. No, I won't go back. I know what you are now. Tell my children I love them, and tell them that you stole me. Anything else is your choice. And she feels a sigh, and the shadow passes back, and the door of the church slams, and it's like the sun comes out again. He's gone. She looks up, and she sees her father's face. He's looking at her with these bright eyes, as if to say, is it you? Are you back? And she wants to say, yes, it's me. I've been gone for a long time in a castle under the water, but I'm back now. I'm here for you. But she can't find the words. So she reaches out with her hand, and that says enough. And father and daughter take each other's hands, and they walk out of the church and into the sunlight. Thank you. Now, our second story is a different kind of spiriting away, one that's a little lighter and with a little more food. And it's called The Makers of Dreams. High, for those of you who have been here, and it takes place in the foothills of the Black Coolin Mountains, where a group of girls have gathered to pick blackberries. Now, they're all about 16, 17, and they're jostling each other, laughing, having a great time, but one particular girl is not. She's very serious. Today's the day she's going to pick the most blackberries, and she is knuckled in. Now, she's looking down at the grass, she's looking at all the blackberries, picking as many as she can, getting in all the thorns, and she starts to lose track of time. She looks up and she realizes, oh my God, I have really lost track of time. Not only that, I have lost track of my friends, and I have lost track of where I am. Because she's no longer at the foothills of the Black Coolin Mountains. She is in the Black Coolin Mountains. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Coolin Mountains are old. Older than some parts of the earth itself. And you don't go up them. You can go in the foothills, but up in the Coolin Mountains is where wolves and giants and spirits are. And that is where she is. And she has no idea what to do. There's a fog everywhere, and she's clutching her basket to her chest, and suddenly she hears a sound. It's coming from everywhere all around her, but through the fog she can't see what it is, and it's getting closer and faster and bouncing off the rocks, and she sees eyes coming through the fog, eyes all around her, and she has no idea what to do, and the eyes are coming forward, and suddenly she sees it's a herd of deer. And they're all coming up to her with their wet noses, nuzzling up against her as if to say, well, are you coming? And she just can't help but laugh, because what else is she supposed to do? So she follows these deer further up the Black Coolin Mountains, and she kind of wants to say, that's not really the way I want to go, but what else is she supposed to do but trust? So she follows these deer all the way to the summit of the Coolin Mountains, where they take her to a glade, a flat patch of glass with herbs and flowers and a cave. And they lead her into the cave, where she sees the strangest sight she has ever seen in her life. An old man and an old woman sitting in chairs. Now, this couple aren't just old, they are really old. They are bent forward with time. It's almost like their skin is so wrinkly their eyebrows are flopping over their eyes. And the deer go straight up to the old woman and they nuzzle into her ear as if they're whispering to her. And the woman suddenly looks up with the brightest, sharpest eyes the girl has ever seen. And the woman says, well, what do you want? And the girl says, I am so sorry, I have gotten lost in the mountains and I'm hoping I can stay the night. And the old woman and the old man look at each other and they laugh. And then the old woman says, no, you may not stay the night, but you can stay for a year and a day. And in that time, you'll work with us, you'll learn our trade, you'll work hard. And after a year and a day, you'll be sent home and you'll be handsomely rewarded. And the girl again laughs, because what else is she supposed to do? This kind of feels like a kidnapping. But she says yes. She's going to trust. And the very next day, the old woman and the girl get up at dawn and they start gathering herbs. And the woman teaches her that they gather these herbs all day, and then at night the deer come up the mountain from wherever they roam and they milk the deer. And with the herbs and the milk, they make a cheese called crowdy cheese. Crowdy cheese is a kind of crumbly, soft cheese. It's fantastic. Now, the old man, back in the cave, all day and all night, he's staring into a pool of water. And this pool is deep and dark, and it gives off its own natural light, as if there are stars within it. And the old man stares in it all day, just looking and looking. And at night, they bring the cheese to the old man, and he starts sculpting tiny little sculptures from the cheese. And first thing in the morning, he comes to the edge of the cave, and hundreds of birds come flying from everywhere. Eagles and hawks and falcons, ravens, crows and sparrows. And they take the little cheese sculptures and they just fly off into the mist. And for 6 months, the girl just does her work, learns her trade, doesn't ask questions. But eventually, she can't stand it anymore, and after 6 months, she says, what is this? What are we doing? woman and the old man look at each other again. And the old woman smiles and says, "We are the makers of dreams." In this pool of water is all of humanity, its spirit, its hopes, its fears, its nightmares, its hates. And we look into it and we see everything that humans feel. And we take our cheese and we carve dreams for them. And we send them off with the birds. With the eagles and the falcons and the hawks, we send dreams of love, hope for the future. And with the ravens and the crows, we send nightmares, dreams of war, because humans need change. They need to be challenged. We make them all, and that is what we're teaching you to do. Wow, says the girl. I don't know what to make of that. But she's oddly touched. And she decides she really wants to learn now. And for the next 6 months, she again really knuckles down. She is a serious girl. And not only is she learning how to harvest the herbs and make the cheese, she learns how to make dreams as well. She learns to interpret the meanings of dreams. She learns to sculpt the little crowdy cheese sculptures, and she learns to send them off with the birds. And sure enough, a year and a day has passed. And it's time to go home. And she kind of feels oddly sad after all of that. It's been a great adventure. It's been very strange. She can't wait to tell everyone about it. And that morning, the old man and the old woman lead her to the edge of the glade. And she smiles at them and she says, "Thank you so much." And they say, "Anytime, but please don't get lost again." And the deer come out of the fog as they did when she first met them. And they nose in up to her with their cold noses, as if to say, "Well, are you coming?" And they lead her back down the mountain. And as the fog starts to lift, she realizes they're leading her down the opposite face to the way to her village, and she kind of wants to say, "My house is that way." But if there's one thing she's learned over the last year and a day, it's to trust. So she does. And she follows the deer all the way down to the beaches of Skye. And she sees a tiny black speck on the horizon. And as she's staring and staring, she realizes it's a boat with a man inside. And he's quite good looking. So she stays on the beaches as the man gets closer, and eventually he lands his boat and gets out, and they're staring into each other's eyes, and it's a little awkward and a little exciting, and suddenly he says, "It's you! Every night for a year and a day, I have been dreaming of you. And I think you're meant to be my wife. If you'll have me, sorry." He's a little bashful. And again, she laughs. What a strange year this has been. And she turns to look at the deer, and they're gone. Disappeared into the fog. "Who are you?" she says. And he blushes and fidgets and says, "I'm a king. And I have had dreams that you are diligent, intelligent, smart, fierce, funny, and I think you would be an amazing queen. I know you don't know me, but would you come back with me, get to know me?" And she turns to look back up at the Kulin Mountains. And she swears she can see an old couple standing on the summit, so far away, smiling and laughing at her. For this is her great reward. "Yes," she says, "absolutely." And she does become the queen of that land, and she's a great queen. She works hard, she is just, she is kind, she cares. She interprets the meanings of the dreams of her people and guides them with wisdom they have never seen before. And she makes a great crowdy cheese.